Hi, everybody. Greetings from New York. It's 9 o'clock here in New York. So just want to say hello to everybody. I started People Think in 2000, and it's an organization that focuses on leadership and team development. I come out of the high-tech world, being in the Bay Area for 30 years. Keep It Real is the signature program for People Think. And what it really does is it equips emerging leaders, so those new leaders who are just going into leadership roles, to really look at how can we provide them the skills so they can successfully lead teams and organizations. So a program like this is just right up the Keep It Real alley. So the team of people who helped, what they were looking at was obviously a marketing plan, and it was just really encouraging for me to have that caliber of student to really look at leadership with a different set of eyes. So I'm really grateful to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing the presentation. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Okay, now our Keep It Real group will begin their presentation.
Beautiful introduction, Karen. Hi, everyone. My name is Jocelyn, and today myself, Christina, Gigi, and Katie will be talking more about Keep It Real leadership and our extern experience. We also had our host, Karen, and our mentor assist us throughout the whole entire extern experience. Before we get into details, I'd like to go to the next slide and tell you a little bit more about our team. We have myself, a senior management and marketing major, Katie, a junior marketing major, Gigi, a junior management major, and Christina, a senior marketing major. Next, to the next slide, today we will be going over 4 main topics about Keep It Real, the project plan, our deliverables, and takeaways from the externship experience. Going on to the next slide about Keep It Real. Keep It Real Leadership is part of People Think's extensive collection of professional training and coaching in leadership and team development. Keep It Real Leadership is a pioneering approach to leadership development that equips and elevates emerging and advancing leaders with the knowledge, behaviors, and practice they need to successfully lead a team. Keep It Real is an active learning experience that helps leaders answer the question, who do I want to be as a leader, and how do I get there? On to the next slide, I'm going to go into details about how the platform works. It's an online self-paced platform with a blended learning approach. It covers 3 modules over about 4 months. The first is what is leadership? The second is discover you. And lastly, it's create the leader in yourself. Next, Christina will talk about our project plan.
Okay, so we created a project plan using Google Docs, and we worked on that collaboratively. In our project, we had 3 main project tasks, each followed by steps assigned to different members that we felt were best suited for each step. Our first task was building a strong network. This task had 2 steps, one being to research the company and find contacts. Myself and Jocelyn were in charge of that. The second step was to create email templates for contacts. Gigi was in charge of that step. Task number 2 was designing and targeting paid advertisements and leads. For that step, the task was to make advertisements, and Katie was in charge of that. And then for our last task was to find freelancers and marketing agencies for Karen to hire from, and Jocelyn and myself were in charge of that step. Another part of our project plan was our meetings, which we used that to check in, to receive feedback on our tasks, as well as touch base with Karen. All of our meetings were conducted over Zoom, and we had 4 meetings in total, 2 with our mentor, Nikita, and 2 with our mentor, Nikita, and our host, Karen. Next slide, please. So next, we're going to talk about our deliverables. Next slide, please. Our first deliverable was finding what constitutes a good contact. What we were looking for was ultimately trying to find the person who could help achieve our goal, whether that was to find an event, someone to partner with, or to be featured on a podcast. These are the categories of partnerships and contexts we found to be most beneficial. These categories included podcasts, education, business, associations, events, and websites. Now I'm going to hand it off to Gigi.
Alrighty, so now that we know who the contacts are and who we want to reach out to, now just figuring out how are we going to do this. So I put together a template, email template, so that we can send out, and I was able to break it down into 5 components. First is the subject. Now it's very important that we have a direct, catchy, something intriguing or an interesting subject line to really get our foot into the door and get that email to be first opened. Then we really need a relevant intro. Now this is the quick hook that provides that relevance between yourself and the other person. This could be like an interesting note between you and the other person, or in their company, or maybe something they did that you read about and you want to bring it up. Now you need to identify their pain. So you need to identify your customer's current problem, something that you can provide a solution for, because we're going to go into the solution. So this is where you put what you have to offer, what you have to sell. This is where we put our motto, and in this case, our leadership training. But you don't want to end it there. You want to end it with a call to action. You can't just put out what you want to sell and then have it stop there. You need to really have this be a connection, or to reach out to the person to network. And so after your solution, you want to extend the offer and check up with them, see if you want to have a meeting with them. Now with Zoom, just can't grab coffee anymore. So it's just, let's meet over Zoom and see how it's going. This will allow you to talk more about the product and really just open the doors up from there. So here's an example of the template being used. We have a catchy subject line. It's looking to improve your leadership training. Here I just use an example of Justin. So it's the quick intro of, hey, I saw your LinkedIn post, that it was very insightful. Great, short and sweet. Now we identify the pain, which is essentially that they are hiring externally rather than promoting from within. You have to identify this because the customer may not even know that they have this. And so once we identify that they're hiring outside rather than going from inside, then you start putting in our solution, which is, well, we have a leadership training program where we just do it all for you instead. And now you're going to end with a call to action, very short and sweet, saying, if you're interested in learning more about how we can help you better prepare your future leaders, let me know what your calendar looks like, either this week, next week. It's not very pushy, and it ends up leaving it very open and friendly. And so we can do this through several platforms. They essentially all do the same, but they range between 25 to 100, depending on how many users you want. And so some of the great things that these platforms will do for you is they'll build a list of prospects. So they'll build upon what you are currently, the context that you already have in your arsenal. And so they also email at scale. So rather than you having to manually send out hundreds of emails, they'll do that for you. And they even monitor those emails. So they're checking who's opening these emails. Are you getting response rates back? Or are you getting responses back? Also, how often are people looking at your email? And you don't want to get any of them lost in there as well. You want to bring these clients in, not forget about them. So all of these do that great stuff. And I'll be switching it over to Katie, who will talk about the media post.
Thank you so much, Gigi. Here are some sample social media posts that I envision being posted on both Instagram and LinkedIn. I went along with the Keep It Real theme to keep everything within the brand flowing together nicely. And the first post on the left is an example of a social media post to advertise Karen's podcast. And the second on the right is an example of one of Keep It Real's quotes to boost people's confidence and also intrigue them into trying the program. And then the next slide shows some more examples of posts on social media, really making sure, once again, that all of the posts flow together with Karen's branding. And I wanted to focus on trying to bring Karen's audience to LinkedIn to further build her network and get a conversation going in LinkedIn messages. And then lastly, on the next slide, I created a couple of sample advertisements or posters to either be printed or sent in emails to further advertise Keep It Real. And the great things about these advertisements are that they're universal and then that they can be used on any platform. And now I'd like to pass it off to Jocelyn to discuss the next steps for Keep It Real.
Thanks for sharing all of our designs, Katie. Our final deliverable was to research next steps for Karen to find someone to assist her in growing her business, and we separated them into freelancing websites and marketing agencies. To name a few freelancing websites, we found TopTal, People Per Hour, Upwork, Freelancer, and Aquint. For marketing agencies, we were looking specifically for those that focus on small businesses that are looking to grow. From this, we gathered Attribute, which is founded by USF alum, Go Dons, Crafted, Crowdform, Iron Paper, and Barrett SF. From our deliverables, if we go to the next slide, we hope Keep It Real will help coach more people to be the leader only you can be. Next, Christina will go into details of our takeaways.
So some takeaways that we had as externs that we can add to our resumes were some hard skills such as marketing skills, design skills, presentation skills, and Microsoft Office skills. Next slide, please. And so we also gained some soft skills such as time management, communication, creative thinking, teamwork, and critical thinking. Next slide, please. So we're also thankful for this opportunity, and we could not have asked for a better overall experience. Here are some snippets of each team member's overall experience. I'm going to read just a few. So Gigi said, for a non-marketing student, I appreciated being able to participate in a program that provided real-world marketing experience. I gained a lot of insight on how to tackle a project where I had limited knowledge on the topic, such as outreach. Not to mention, I improved my communication skills through working with my team. And then I said, I am so thankful for this experience. I really enjoyed working with my team and our amazing host, Karen. I'm so appreciative for this opportunity to gain real world experience, and I will carry all these skills that I learned with me throughout my career. Now I'm going to hand it off to Katie to speak about acknowledgements.
Thank you. Lastly, we just wanted to acknowledge our host, Karen, and our mentor, Nikita. They have both been extremely helpful in this process, and it has been such a great experience working with them and getting to know them better over our Zoom meetings. And once again, thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We really appreciate it.